Hi everybody, welcome to the Durham Motherhood Summit. Today we have Jen Rogers from FITMOM Durham here with us today, and she's going to let us know a little bit about her services and how come you need to know her.
Well, I'm super excited to be here. Yes, you do need to know me. As Laura has said, my name is Jennifer. I am the owner and operator of FITMOM in Durham, and I've been running these programs for the past 10 years across Durham region. It's been a real privilege to be kind of like a beacon to draw in all of the families in their early pregnancy experience and early parenting, to provide a place where they can come and learn how to exercise throughout their pregnancy or early postpartum and then beyond. My background is actually started as a Lamaze certified childbirth educator, and I've been teaching in the Durham region for about 14 years. I've always taught group fitness and had personal training background just for fun on the side. And after the second baby was born, my son Jacob, I decided to take the plunge and become self-employed and leave a consistent paycheck with a wonderful organization behind, and I've never looked back.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's been a fun journey. In the mix of all of that, when we realized we didn't want to expand our family anymore, personally, I decided I would also become a birth doula, and I'm certified with Doula International and attend births from Durham region and the GTA as well.
Which is very cool. So
Yeah.
Jen has many hats. And
Yes.
all of your experience leads to a really amazing class structure where you can be a supportive person for wherever a mom is in her motherhood journey, which is a very cool thing to have in your toolkit, I think.
It's actually really a perfect storm to be able to work in an environment where you're living your passion all the time, and I feel really drawn to the pre and postnatal population. I don't think anyone that works with this group does it because they don't embrace all of the beauty and the strength in it, but also some of the uncomfortable parts that go along with parenting, and just especially the physical journey of pregnancy and the unknowns that happen throughout that, when your body seems kind of foreign, and then postpartum when it still feels foreign and yet familiar. So it's a really wonderful opportunity within Durham region to have these classes available for people to come in without an expectation that there's going to be a major change happening, which can be really...
Yeah, it's an interesting way to look at some classes, right?
Yeah, like it's really just, let's hang out and get together with our babies, learn how to move, why we should move in this way, but also really building a sense of community for people to come out. Because what we've found over the past 10 years is that motherhood is, well, it's not 10 years ago that we found this out, but certainly the past 10 years where I've been running my programs, we recognize how isolating motherhood can be. And so community has been a really important part of what these classes provide to people when they come in.
Yeah, and from my patient perspective, I've definitely seen how my patients thrive with another community to be involved in. And even though you say there's no change is expected, we'll see a lot of actual physical change happen, at least from the clients that I've sent over, that are like, I actually feel stronger in my body.
Yes.
I feel like I can do a little bit more. I feel really confident with lifting up my kids and the stroller and everything now. So you still get the physical changes, which is awesome.
I guess that's true. We're looking at, and really that's my structure, my purpose is to provide those physical changes that may not be those aesthetics that are typical of health and fitness, right? When you're postpartum, we're not necessarily promoting this within 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks, 18 months, a couple years. You're gonna look the same in an aesthetic way where we are kind of like restricting people in terms of how they move or how they eat and working within that range. It's really about building strength from the inside out, coming back to function and form, and then what happens when you start moving is that typically there's weight loss that happens with that. What happens when you start having more muscle mass is that your body starts to look different, but that's not, I guess, the initial intention of those classes. It's that beautiful side effects that take place because you're learning to move again. And in our FITMOM to Be programs, where we work with our pregnant population, they're coming at fitness from a different perspective, a different need, a need to work within an understanding of what their bodies are doing. And so as a childbirth educator and doula, there's a lot of information I can share about that experience.
So it's just not a fitness class, but a full-on almost prenatal experience for your clients.
Yeah, they walk in, I think, not really knowing what to expect.
For sure.
Maybe a little bit nervous about what the behaviors are going to be and maybe what the workouts are going to be like, to find that it is achievable. I always joke, you're pregnant, so you're not fragile. You're able to do more than your people expect of you.
Yes, completely.
And it's in your favor for your pregnancy, your growing baby, and your labor and recovery to be as strong as possible.
Completely, as fit as possible.
Yeah, and that's mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's kind of all three.
Yes, completely. So what I've really liked about the clients that I've sent over as well is that Jen is very pelvic floor aware in all of her classes.
Some might say obsessive.
But it goes hand in hand with the education you're going to be getting from a lot of other providers in the area, that we want the same message being brought across. So if you are leaking after you deliver, if your coughs and sneezes do make you pee a little bit, you can still go to one of Jen's classes and be very well taken care of, knowing you're doing all the things what we've told you to do in physio, but in a higher intense workout with all the moms. So you don't have to not do the activity and the exercise portion of things. It's actually going to be more beneficial to your recovery to add in both. So
absolutely,
that part's pretty cool.
And especially with pelvic floor, as you know, like it's constantly being used and activated. You can't really avoid it. But how do you learn to move again when you're rebuilding that strength, doing those activities that you love,
and to coordinate it with
which is the hard part. And
so
it may not be, easy at the beginning, but it gets easier. And certainly many of the clients that I have been working with throughout their pregnancies and their postpartum, they always report back, especially when they're working with their pelvic floor physio, that they start to see those changes happen at slightly faster rates because it's constant in our classroom.
Yes.
Yeah, there's always an eye roll. Here she goes again, talking about the pelvic floor. But it's an important element, and we try and take some of the embarrassment out of it as well. Normalize that this is a common experience that so many of us are facing, and how do we move past that without restricting our activities? Because sometimes people are told not to move, and that may not be productive or helpful either.
And it's hard to get back to the things you want to be doing if you're told you can't do that anymore.
Exactly.
What are the other classes that you run? Like FITMOM has a couple different programs. So what are the programs, and who kind of fits into what program?
Yeah, so we talked really briefly about our FITMOM to Be program, which is our prenatal fitness class, which is great, and I love teaching those. Then we have our daytime programming, which is our FITMOM and baby program. And so this is where families are coming in, individuals are coming in after they've had their baby. The most common question is, how soon can I exercise after having a baby? And our minimum requirement is 6 weeks if.
Yes.
And I have a couple of things. So you can come into our FITMOM and baby programs at as early as 6 weeks if your lochia bleeding has stopped. We definitely don't want to have any more bleeding happening when we're exercising. Your perineal area is healed. If you've had a cesarean, we recommend that you're 8 to 10 weeks postpartum minimum, because we also recognize that it takes more healing. But the most important and often overlooked part is people are so eager to get back into fitness again. That I've passed my 6-week postpartum checkup, and everything's done. I want to get back in, but maybe parenting isn't easy yet.
Yes.
Completely. And maybe you need to spend a little bit more time in your nest at home with babe, learning to feed, soothe, managing that expectation of parenthood. And then there's the readiness of that added element of getting out of the house. So every person is really different about when they want to come in. That's my minimum. We often see people coming in around the 15, 16 weeks mark, especially if they haven't been active throughout their pregnancy.
Completely.
So if a person's super, super active, they're probably going to come back to classes a little earlier, because learning to exercise isn't new for them. Parenting is new, but learning to exercise is what they do. It's like brushing their teeth and just their general self-care. So they're not adding any extra stress into their already changed life.
Potentially stressful.
Exactly. Just getting out of the house is hard. We recognize and give gold stars at FITMOM for showing up. But for someone who maybe hasn't been exercising and also has a baby, they might need a little bit more time and space to adapt and then start a new habit of movement. So that's our FITMOM and baby program, and they happen between Oshawa and Pickering, and it's a great place to come in. The classes are all designed really to help people find their level of fitness.
So you modify based on
individual. I call it like group fitness with individual conditioning. So each person gets one-on-one attention in a group class, and slightly organized chaos.
And it can be as easy as hard as their body needs it to be in that given day.
In that given day, and for that given movement.
Yes.
Right? So we recognize, and you're always being cued to like select the most appropriate.
Okay.
And babies are actively participating throughout the class if they're interested in that. And we're also learning about their development as well. So it's a really a dynamic type of class where people are chatting and it's quite loud. And then we have our FITMOM program.
Yes, okay.
Which is kind of new to Durham region for me. Now that my kids are older and I'm able to provide more of my time, I've been able to expand our FITMOM program and offer evening classes for those that are back at work.
Okay.
Or for those who have babies that might be sleeping throughout the day, or, oh my gosh, what if you just want to go out by yourself for 45 minutes and hang out with a bunch of cool people and maybe leave partner or other family members responsible for your little one. And so those classes are a little shorter because we're moving more consistently and with less distraction of a baby.
Yes.
But they're designed to help move your progression and move your fitness up a bit. But certainly when we have our early postpartum parents kind of in that class as well, we adjust.
Okay.
Sometimes people think FITMOM Durham is just for the pre and postnatal population, and we certainly specialize in pre and postnatal. However, if someone is way more postnatal, they're welcome to come to this class.
Years postnatal. We'll say in physios that you're always postpartum.
Exactly.
Right? Doesn't matter if your baby is 3 months or 30 years old. Your body is a little bit different after you've had a baby, and you are always postpartum. So you'll fit into the category quick.
Exactly. And even if you don't have children, maybe that's not the stage of life that you're in right now, but you're looking for just a class to come in and connect that's female-centered, it would be an option for you to come in as well. So, it's been exciting to see that program grow a little bit and to invest some energy into that element and to provide that next stage for my members who typically would maybe just transfer out back to work, and then we didn't have anything for them to do with FITMOM.
And they're not losing the community then. They're continuing on to the next step.
And I love it. And great things happen in that class. I mean, I watch it and I see, we have some early pregnant people come in, and then another person may have had a baby, and then all of a sudden she's like, well, I have my old jacket that I used to wear for my maternity leave. Here you go. They're sharing, and we're talking about work and parenting and relationships, and it's a pretty great environment. Cool.
So how do people find you? How do you register for a class, or where are you online?
So you can find me on Facebook, FITMOM Durham. You look for that. You can find me on Instagram. I'm there too. Those are like the most places that I hang out. After that, I stopped wanting to be too socially mediated. And then obviously through the internet, so fitmomdurham.com is the website.
And you can register right through the site.
Register directly through the site to class. Following online on our social media pages helps people get some more information about what our classes are like or different moves they can incorporate. I know y'all like to check people out online first and then come to class, so we try and share as much as we can in that experience. And really, I just encourage people to start thinking more about movement, that this is a time in your life, especially if you've had a child or are pregnant, to start adapting some habits and creating time to learn how to move and incorporate movement as just something that you do. And hopefully, if you're looking for some place to go where you're going to be supported by well-qualified trainers and meet a great group of people who are just like you wanting to move, then I hope you come and check us out. And certainly email or message me with questions. I'd love to help.
Excellent. So Jen has put together her top 5 exercises. The ones she likes the best, and they're actually very pelvic floor aware as well, which fits in right with our information. So that's in the free gift and bonus area, so make sure you download that PDF of your top 5 exercises. And I think we're going to go through and show a couple of your top 3.
I think that's a great idea. So we'll make sure that we have maybe a second video that you can access with some demonstrations of how we do them in class.
Excellent. Thank you so much,
Thank
Jen.
you, Laura.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Okay, so one of the first moves I wanted to share with you guys is really effective to building that lower body strength, but also targets the core and pelvic floor in a gravity neutral sense. So the first thing that I encourage you to do is to come and find a wall, and then you're going to come into a wall sit. So in a perfect wall sit, you're going to have your shoulder blades connected to the back, low back is connected, and you're going to walk your feet out just enough so that you're about a 90-degree angle with the knees as you slowly lower your bottom to the ground. Now, depending on your strength, you may not get to that 90-degree mark, and that's okay. What we're looking for is just soft knees, okay? While you're here, you can start to engage that pelvic floor by inhaling and feeling your ribs expand. And on the exhale, I encourage you to lift up from the pubic bone in and up, lifting away, squeeze, hold, and then release. And do this without holding your breath.
Yes.
So we're gonna do that again. Deep breath in, exhale, draw up and in, beautiful. And we're gonna do that one more time. And exhale. That's it. So I'm gonna challenge Laura to get a little lower because I know she can. So she's gonna come a little lower down. So this is a way in which you can progress this to make this a little bit more challenging. You can also do this while holding a baby if you wanted once you're more stable. And then you can start to add a small little pelvic tilt where you're just going to add a little bit of mobility through that low back, drawing that pubic bone up towards your chin, and then inhale, release. Exhale, blow, squeeze, and then release. One more time, pressing those heels into the floor to activate your glutes. And done. And then you're gonna slowly press all the way back up and go. Shake it out. So if you do that move for 30 seconds, building up to a minute, maybe adding 10 to 15 seconds each time, 1 to 2 sets, great to build that lower body strength and get your core engaged.
Excellent.
There you go. So the second move I have for you is going to target that posterior chain, which means the entire backside of our body. When we're talking about building a strong core, we really don't want to ignore our backs. So this next move is a modified deadlift with a T squeeze. So it's going to work through that low back and through the mid back. So what I'm gonna ask you to do is to take your feet pelvis width apart. You're gonna work on your hip hinge. I like to have my hands at my thighs and slide them down while I shift the weight back with my butt, looking to the floor. And then on the exhale, I'm gonna have you extend your arms right to the side, squeeze up in between those shoulder blades, release the arms all the way down, press through your heels to come up and squeeze your bum at the top. So that's 1 rep. So let's try that a couple more times. So we're gonna hinge the hips. Laura's gonna work on shifting her hips back. If you're not sure, placing your fingers at your hip bones and getting that little pinch is an indication, right? Exhale, she's gonna squeeze through the back side of her arms. Exactly, feeling that pinch in the shoulder blades. Release, pressing through the heels to come all the way up and squeezing her bum at the top. For many people, the hip hinge can be really challenging, and we often see this rounding happening through the back. So one of the cues that I often encourage my clients to do is to use the wall as a guidepost. So you're just gonna back yourself, start against the wall, then maybe back up a little bit so that you're gonna work on having your bum touch the wall. And you're gonna force this action from your hips versus bending at the waist and rounding forward. So for those that are kind of new to this action of a proper deadlift, this cue can be really helpful. You can't avoid a deadlift. You do it all the time when you pick up things from the floor or your baby. For sure. Or placing your baby down, which is what moms do all day long.
Okay, so it's hips back.
Hips back.
All the way down.
All the way down. Arms extend to the side. Pinch through the shoulder blades. And then release. Press through the heels to come up and squeeze your bum at the top. Perfect. Awesome. Cool. And the last move that I wanted to share with everyone today is the side plank. The side plank's great at targeting those oblique muscles, which help to stabilize your core. They actually kind of act like a picture frame, which keeps everything centered and pulled in. We don't want to work your obliques too much, but they're important. So the side plank is the best way to get there. So I'm going to ask Laura to come onto one side of her body, whichever one feels right for her today. First thing I'm going to have her do is make sure that her bottom arm is stabilized by bringing the elbow out. So that is going to support you. So bring that hand out. There you go. Perfect. There we go. And she's going to make sure that that elbow is directly underneath her shoulder. Because if that elbow is a little bit further out, it's going to cause a lot of strain in that neck, and she might injure herself, and the side plank may not function the way that we want. When we're starting out, we want to keep our knees together. So if you've just had a baby, or if you're in any stage of your pregnancy, knees together is often the most comfortable way to maintain control. It's the bottom oblique that is going to work to stabilize, not the top, okay? So with your heels together, knees together, you're gonna start with a breath in. On the exhale, she's gonna engage her pelvic floor and then begin to press her knees to the floor and lift her body up. Awesome. Notice that Laura's in a beautiful straight line. You can have your hand in front for support. And if you want, you can take that arm all the way up to the side and above, just like that, rotating that palm to the front and making sure you're not reaching back. Drive that bottom hip up, squeeze and hold. Maintaining easy breathing throughout the entire process. The moment you start to bear down, grip or hold your breath, it's a sign to come down, release, and start again.